All right. Looks like we're live now. So here is the bidding room, and none hasn't joined it yet. But we can go ahead and spectate and get a look at the combinations. Thank you guys for tuning in. This, of course, is the final for the 1v1 championship. The players just have time for 2 games right now. So those of you not familiar with the format, the way it works is Day and None will bid on these 2 combinations, and then they'll each get a chance to play each one with the bid. So if Nordic Patriotic goes for 10 and Polania Agricultural goes for 0, both players will play as Nordic Patriotic with a bid of 10. If the same player wins both of those games, that set is over. If they split, there's a 3rd game played with another random set that they bid on as well. So, None here, or Noodles, depending on whether you follow him on Discord or know his DE username, is coming up from the winner's bracket. So he only has to win 1 set. Day has to win the first set and then another set to get the championship. Let's refresh this. I think None's in it. It just doesn't show. Yeah, there he is. Noodles, None, same guy. So they have time for 1 set right now. So we're going to get the whole championship in if None wins both of them. If Day wins the set, then they're probably going to pick back up at, they said 7 p.m. UTC. So that would be, what? That's 3 my time. So that'd be 3.5 hours from now. So I'm hoping that I can stream that as well. Let's see, someone mentioned me in the Discord, it looks like. Yeah, just to let me know they're bidding. So let's see, we got Nordic Patriotic at 7. I don't think that's terrible. It's the stronger combination here. Polania versus Nordic can be rough though. If Polania gets an amazing first encounter and gets mechs out really quickly, they can really harass Nordic, because with that expensive 4 metal for a mech that Nordic has right there, it can be really difficult to get the mechs out quick enough to counter a really fast Polania. So with Nordic actually going for 8 coins more than Polania Agricultural right now, somebody who gets lucky, and the bidding just ended. So let's get these bid results on the screen. A Polania that gets lucky with that first encounter can really turn the tide. All right. Give me just a minute to get these bids on the screen. All right. So Day will play Nordic in the first game, and None or Noodles will play Polania in the first game. Now we just gotta wait a minute or 2 until they get the room going. Thanks for tuning in on such short notice, guys. How are things going this morning for y'all? Excited about the game? I think it'll be a good one. Alright, it says in game, so let's see if we can spectate here. Yeah, here we go. Should be a good one. Alright, we see the trade for oil out of Nordic to start things off. Move these bids down a little bit. Have it up a little higher because they're usually 4 bids. All right, quick move to metal for Nordic. I think that's a solid choice. There's an early enlist strat for Nordic Patriotic that's really strong, but I don't think you can afford to do it with Polania on the board. Like I said, risking that really fast Polania rush that can frustrate Nordic. You got to get these mechs out quickly if you're Nordic to have a chance to prevent the early Polania onslaught. Charles leads. Who is Day? I've never heard of him yet. Day's been around for a little while. His DE username is Daykiller. And he's been very successful in tournaments, but I do believe, if I'm not remiss, that this is his first final round. So it's exciting to see a new face in a final. But he beat some really good players on his way here, including in the last losers bracket round. He took down Joy Division, who was the previous 1v1 tournament champion, went undefeated. So Day certainly belongs here, and he's earned his way up. So this is a good encounter. The enlist is nice. It speeds up the game, and the food is nice because that's going to allow Polania to get a second enlist as well as some power, which is going to be valuable because Nordic's going to have a lot of power. But I think Nordic is also breathing a sigh of relief because we're not going to see a quick second mech out of Polania. Because Polania not opting to go for an upgrade option early, it's going to take a little time to get out that second mech with 2 trades being required. But I think it's solid to go ahead and go for the trade for 2 metal. That means you can do the power into the enlist probably next turn, or a produce to get to 4 workers, and then get the second mech out. Nordic has to worry a little bit about being blocked here. A solid move from Polania in 1v1 is often to get to put a mech right here and force Nordic to take a combat at the very least on their way to the factory. Two resources of their choice. That is absolutely beautiful for Nordic because it sets him up for another mech. So he can get to the factory in 2 moves if he so chooses, which means he is going to beat Polania to the factory, which in a 1v1 game is absolutely huge. VMer, hey, I kind of liked Polania more than Nordic here though. You know, it's tough because Nordic Patriotic, if the game lasts long enough, can be so strong, but Polania with a good first encounter can just wreck. And Polania didn't get that good first encounter to really crank out those mechs quickly. So I think Nordic moves to the factory 100% here. Hey VMer, I'm doing well, man. On a personal note, my wife had surgery last week, but she's doing really well. It's a reason I wasn't able to play in this tournament. But she's doing well and on the mend quickly. Just glad I get to stream at least part of the final here. Hopefully we'll get to stream the rest of it later if it goes beyond 2 games. Okay, like we thought. Oh, look at that. Nordic gets the enlist factory card. Nordic with 2 mechs out already. An upgrade on the deploy, and now a factory card with enlist. Polania not messing around though, since they need that factory card and they're gonna take it before Nordic gets seaworthy out. I mean, I don't think you can bluff here if you're Polania. You get sent home here, you're in some real trouble, like game-ending trouble. And they kind of do bluff a little bit, running dangerous. Hey guys, I gotta check on something real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see what I miss here. Nordic used the factory card and is going to attack Polania on the village. Did I unmute my mic? Yes, I did. Oh, look at this. Nordic only throws one. Just trying to drain Polania of power right now. I think my spectate may be bugged. Jump out of here and get right back in. Okay, it looks like this combat. Okay, so Nordic did win the combat, taking him down to 6 power. Polania gets a cheap one in return, sending Nordic back off the village, which is pretty key. Let's see, we've got none on Polania already with 3 stars now, including 2 combats and an objective. We missed the objective, unfortunately. Don't know what that was. Wasn't send one back. Days on Nordic Patriotic, playing a solid game so far. Gonna pick up an encounter here. And hey, another combat, why not? It's the bluff, it's the 2v2. Alright, so both players have the combats they need. Hey, Divier, thank you so much. I missed your chat earlier, but I appreciate you wishing well for the best recovery. Echo says maybe it was King of the Hill. Big Nesh points out it could be Machine over Muscle. Yeah, it could be any of those. We get 2 food and a popularity for Nordic, which is really solid because it means that you can produce to 5 workers and pick up an enlist. Which of course they have the factory card enlist, but it's great for them to be able, of course, Polania is going to try to knock them off the spot. And they have the power and cards to do it. Nordic not having artillery in this game, letting Polania keep a lot of their power. An early artillery mech would have changed this game substantially. Nordic really not defending, giving those resources right back to Polania. With all these combat guys, this could be a protracted game. We'll have to see. But both of these players are playing very quickly right now. We're only 13 minutes in, and that included the bidding, although the bidding was fairly short. Alright. Polania picks up 2 wood and 3 popularity. Not completely sure what they're going to do with that wood, because they need 4 to make a building, and they're not on wood to produce right now. Let's check in on the score. Polania right now, no coin advantage, but Polania with, I guess, just a little bit more spread. Holding the factory right now is really the reason they have the lead, which this early in the game does not mean a whole lot. What do you do for your Nordic right now? I mean, is it time to use the factory card again? And maybe get those workers to a village, somewhere where you can start getting more of them. Polania doesn't have Riverwalk yet, so this space is pretty safe from attack. Round 11, and there are only a total of 5 workers on the board. So I guess you have some time, if you're Polania or Nordic, to start to get your workers out. But at some point, being able to get spread is going to make a difference. So both players have 2 mechs and 2 enlists. Just wait. The difference between them is that Polania's turned in an objective and Nordic hasn't. BTOP, watching you has really helped improve my scythe gameplay over the past couple of months, so thank you for that. You are welcome, man. You're very welcome. Jeremy Halick, apart from Russ, who is your favorite faction to play 1v1? Polania, 100%. Being able to just get so many encounters on a board with 2 players. And to be able to hide on the lakes if you're playing really anyone but Nordic, because we don't usually incorporate Tagawa and Albion into these 1v1 tournaments. So Another victory to Nordic. Another cheap victory to Nordic. We're up to 6 combats now. And Nordic did not bring the workers though, which may have been a clue that they were going to bluff. Polania chooses to produce and only gets 1 food out of it. Not a great turn for Polania. Oh, but we're using the factory card here, so it's counterattack time. Yeah, the factory card produces what they threw down. That space has been the source of about, what, 4 combats now? Polania hoping, I suppose, that Nordic doesn't counterattack here because they just have 2 power and no cards. Nordic can take these resources right back if they so choose. There's 1 move, and yeah, sure enough. You're going to take that food right back. They're bringing the workers this time, sensing perhaps that they can maybe hold the spot long enough to produce, get to 5 workers, and grab another enlist. VMware 0cc Polania. Yeah, that's a scary place to be for sure. Does Nordic have the pop to throw down? No, they don't have the pop to throw down, so it's wood or the combat card on popularity. Don't underestimate the power of that combat card though in this particular game. Nordic has to think about the fact though that if they produce into an enlist, I mean it's their best bet, right? But they expose this metal to Polania, and on top of that they funnel Polania a card through the enlist. Bill, Compston Law, when did Scythe become a war sim? Tell you what, these 1v1 games tend to have a lot of combats. There was, when Day played in his last game, I believe one of the games had 28 combats. I didn't watch it, but that's what I read in the Discord. And of course, that's not average by any means. Let's see, Nordic defends. Polania gets the best encounter in the game, number 15, and has the 2 coin and the 3 popularity to take 8 resources if they so choose. Problem with that is if they take 8 resources, let's see, 1, 2, 3. This is a safe spot. Nordic cannot reach this with a factory card this turn, which means if they so choose, they can take all 8 resources and know that they're going to be safe for 1 turn. And they do. That is a lot of resources. Was this a regular move, guys? I don't even know. It's going so fast. Yeah, regular moves, so they're going to be able to grab an upgrade here. And they pull 2 foods, so these combined will let them bolster into a combat card. So Polania is sitting on 2 combat cards now. Checking on the score. Polania up by 7, round 13, but we're not close to ending these things. VMware, I think you just don't enlist. You can enlist with factory card. Yeah, I think there's an argument for that, but now that Polania is up to 2 combat cards, it might not matter as much. BTOP, even when I play with my aggressive friends, there have never been this many combats. Yeah, we're up to 9 and counting. Yeah, again, it's a consequence of 2 aggressive players playing in 1v1. You often don't see this many combats in a normal game because players are trying to rush the game, games end quicker. 2-player games often go more rounds, and being able to disrupt the other player can matter a lot more than, you know, pushing your own game forward. Okay, we are going to see an enlist out of Nordic. This is enlist number 3. Nordic not particularly well set up to get their last 2 mechs, but Polania, aside from the incredible encounter they have, not really running a great economy either. Mr. Gosuck, you don't stream on Twitch. I just find that YouTube is more accessible to people. Got more subscribers on YouTube than followers on Twitch, and more people have YouTube accounts than Twitch. And since the board game community tends to be more likely to participate in YouTube than Twitch, which is more of a gaming platform, I've done Twitch quite a bit. I just find YouTube seems a little bit more accessible to people. And it's a bit easier to schedule streams and notify people that streams are coming up. All right. What did we get here? Polania was able to pay 2 food, bolster and pay 2 food to get that enlist. So now they're sitting at 3 enlists, as well as Nordic, who's at 3 enlists. Bill Compson says Twitch really sucks these days. Yeah, there's a lot of thought that Twitch is gonna lose the fight with YouTube streaming. That YouTube streaming and Facebook streaming are gonna replace it eventually. There's some good things about Twitch, just not as accessible in a lot of ways. We thought this might happen. We thought Nordic might get this worker bumped and lose this medal. Polania coming in, trying to establish some presence in their home base, which Nordic is all but owning in this game. I mean, this is a close game right here, and I really have no idea who's going to win this. Nordic's, of course, set up to get the Enlist Star quite easily and the Worker Star quite easily. If they have a doable objective, that's 5. But they've got to put together 6 medals somehow to get the last 2 mechs, because the Power Star is not happening. Not happening at all. So buckle in, this game's going to go a little bit longer. Those of you new to the format here, the 2-player format, as soon as this game finishes, they're going to switch sides, and None or Noodles, depending on if you know him in Discord or DE, is going to play Nordic Pat with an 8-coin bid, and Day will switch to Polania Agricultural with a 0-coin bid. So as soon as this game ends, we've got another coming up. All right. Polania already locked in on how much they're spending. Nordic giving it some thought. Oh, wow. Nordic not wanting to lose that combat and not wanting to lose that place. Echo says 2.5 hour streaming coming. No, they're going to play a couple games here, and if it's still going, then they're going to pick it back up at 7 p.m. UTC. So that's what, a little over 3 hours from now. I'm hoping to be able to stream that as well. We'll just have to see. I may not be able to. Fascinating format. I dig it. Are the bids kept to add another element to the bid process? Okay. Yeah, definitely. So both players play each side. Big Nash says, what happens if both wins 1 each? Well, then they play a third tiebreaker game where they draw 2 more random combinations and bid on those, and instead of playing both sides, they just play the one they win, and whoever wins that third one wins the set. And of course, if you tuned in a little late, you missed the fact that None, who's playing Polania right now, came through on the winner's bracket. It's double elimination. Day came through on the loser's bracket, so Day actually has to win 2 sets. So if None wins this match, either by winning 2 games or by winning one of the games and then winning the tiebreaker, he's the champion. Day's got to win this set and then win a set later on today. Let's see. Polania at 4 stars now with 4 enlists. Their combat's accounted for, and an objective, but no real way to get these workers out. Nordic is owning their base. The Nordic just praying for metal right now. I mean, it's not going to be hard for them to finish off their stars. Oh, look, they get it. They get 4 metal. Your heart sinks if you're Polania right now to see that objective, because Nordic can get mech number 3 next turn and pull some power off of it. Polania can factory card to this spot and try to take the metal though. That is the one downside of taking this encounter. Where did they start from? right there. I mean, there really wasn't a safe encounter from Polani, was there? With Polani having the factory card. Yep, they get the metal. They might not take it. They might be worried about Polani just stealing it. What's the score? It's neck and neck. I mean, Nordic with that 8 coin bid is down by 10. Low scoring game. Both these players electing to slow one another down rather than really go for an economy. Oh, nothing little combat can't fix, says Phil. That's what he's thinking about. Does he have 3 pop? He doesn't have 3 pop. So he takes option 1. He got exactly what he needed on the encounter, but the problem was he couldn't take it because he was just going to lose it. He would have loved to have 3 pop to just be able to drop the Mac. Okay. Polani using the factory card just to get out to a village that Nordic can't reach, just abandoning the base and giving it up. What do we see here out of Nordic? Do we see the final enlist maybe? Possibly a trade for metal. This is a safe spot from Polania right now. See a trade for metal. Produce into the worker star. Another trade for metal. A bolster for a mech. Turn 17 and we're still going strong. Okay, we do see the produce. We do see the worker star. And we see Foundations of the Empire. So Nordic now sitting on 4 stars, needing just the 2 mechs and the easy enlist. Pull this game. All your pace belongs to Nordic. Yeah, Polani is just going to pretend they're Saxony probably for the rest of the game and use this base. Tired of going home. Okay, this is good. Nordic needs metal off of this because Polania cannot reach them if they get it. Polania has just used the factory card and has no mechs on the lakes, which means they cannot reach this spot with a regular move. They can't river walk to the tundra. And they can't use the triple move. So if Nordic can pull off some metal and get lucky again, they can set themselves up for a mech. Nordic moving workers to the farm, which is a little bit interesting to me. No, they're going to go to wood. Really? They do not pull metal this time. Alright. What can Polania do? Polania can't go to 8 workers this time, but they can trade 2 metal and drop their 3rd mech. You gotta be worried if you're Nordic. It's felt like you're in control this whole game, but you're actually not winning because of that 8 coin bid. You're actually down by 1 with Polania not even started to spread. And Polania is, after this turn, probably only going to be 1 mech and 1 produce away from ending the game. They also have the power advantage. Nordic can't produce. Looking good for Polania right now. Bill says I'd find it funny if Noodles uses Day's exact strat next game. Yeah, that's one of the things about this format is you get to watch to see what the other player does, and if you like what they do, you can imitate it as well. For sure. Alright, we're back to Polania's turn. I would expect to see the Riverwalk mech here. Trade for 2 metal and a Riverwalk mech. Because that would allow them to spread to this territory rather than having to make the first move to a lake where they can't drop a worker, obviously. Not sure what he's thinking about. He may have another plan. Just this encounter on the board, this encounter on the board, and this encounter on the board. This is one that Polania can reach. Okay, we're going to go 8 workers first. Maybe the Riverwalk mech next turn. Polania is at 5 stars. Oh, use the factory card produce. Solid choice. I was wrong, guys. I thought the factory card was on cooldown, but apparently it wasn't. Oh, and he throws just enough. Of course, he knew it was just enough, right? Because Nordic didn't have any power. Not having the artillery mech in this game has really just crushed Nordic. Polania would have been so hurt if Nordic had been unable to... Polania would have been so hurt by the fact that Nordic was unable to... that Nordic was able to just drain their power the whole game. All right. List number 4 out of Nordic, they go to 5 stars as well. Combat count is at 11 right now. You like combats? Been a great game. Check in on the score. Lonnie up by 6 after the bids. Probably about to get some spread. Okay, and here's the mech. I'm expecting Riverwalk here. Right there. And sure enough, it is. Lonnie about to get some good spread here. Nordic needs to be worried. 2 trades is all Polania needs to drop the last mech. Alright, Nordic sensing the end of the game is close. Electing to spread out. Now 14 up. 6 up after the bids. Polania hasn't even started to spread. Still going after Nordic. Why not, I guess, right? Attack on 2 lakes, send both of those home. With Seaworthy, you can't retreat to land, just to lakes, so if you attack Nordic on a lake, they lose the territory. Whereas, typically, if you attack them on land, they don't lose a territory. Spreading to Sax Mountain seemed better than the last attack, didn't it? The Polania wins that fight. If you spread to Sax's Mountain... Oh, in this area? I thought he was going to do that, to be honest. Thought he was going to drop a worker here and then a mech here. And Nordic didn't really need the food, did they? They already have their enlist. Alright, Polania pulls a double victory. It's Nordic saving their power. Probably a good combat card, or at least a decent one. Taking 2 territories away from Nordic. Built down by 4 with the 8 coin bid, which means Polania is up by 4. Okay, we could see a factory card move. Which, if Polania had put at least 1 worker on a mountain, they could use the factory card move and then have traded for the mech to end the game. Or the factory card produce and then traded for a mech to end the game. But they didn't do that. They're only on oil and villages. What combat are we up to? 15? Close. 13. Yeah, VMR, I was saying earlier there was a game yesterday between Day and Joy that if chat is to believe had 28 combats. Nordic taking the factory. Up by 8. This is a tie game after the bids. All right. Here's combat number 14 incoming. Echo points out exactly, talking about what we said earlier with the not having the worker on the metal, needing an additional turn. It's an additional... Yeah, it's an additional turn. Because presumably you trade for 2 metal here. Then spread. What do you do, Polania? Factory card to take, or use your factory card to take the factory back. That would be a net gain of 12, which would be 646. That would put you 8 ahead. And Nordic just has a double move here that they just... What did they just use? Did they just use the double move? They did. So I think maybe Polania takes the factory here. Nordic only has the... no, they don't. They do. Okay. They take 2 territories. Means now they're up by 9. Nordic only has the factory move. Can pick up 1 power. It's not enough to take the factory from Polania. I think this is good game, guys. I think the first one goes to none here. Unless I've missed something. Yeah, Nordic can't reach this tundra. Because they don't have anybody on any mechs on a tunnel. It'd be one from this one. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, which they can't do. From this one, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, which they can't do. Obviously, the one in the base can't do a thing. And Polania is up by 11 after the bids. Yeah. Good game, none. One's over. Yep. There it is. Boy, Nordic harassed Polania like crazy, but Polania stayed with it and pulled it out. Game number 1 goes to none. Final score: wins by 1 outright with the bid. That's a 9-point victory after 23 rounds. Good game. Congratulations, None, on the first game. Day has to win the next 1, 2 games to stay in it. So let's go ahead and switch these bids. All right, new bids are on the screen. They already queue up the game? No, not yet. Maybe recording the result in the Discord. Just give it a minute. See. Bill says time for a 20 combat grudge match. Let's do it, man. 1v1 games can be exciting. Yeah, it looks like they're both in the game right now, just picking their combinations, so we'll be able to load in just a minute. Oh, camera cut out for a minute. Guys, I need to remember to lock the shutter. I've been bad about that lately. Gotta wait for this to disappear. No sense in spamming spectate until it does. Wait, player time 10 minutes ranked. That's not it. Is Day out of time to play? Hang says we take a 2-minute break, FYI. Okay. They're taking just a minute break here. That's fine. They'll be back in just a second. You know, I thought Nordic really had the advantage there early. They were aggressive. They stole all of Polania's base. Polania was sitting on 2 workers at one point, with Nordic claiming every territory in their home base. But we saw kind of with Nordic that they didn't have a plan to get to 4 mechs. And maybe with some fewer combats and a little less aggression, they could have gotten those mechs out. But I think being a little less aggressive and just trusting the Nordic patriotic economy once Polania didn't get 2 mechs off that first encounter would have helped them. I think going to the factory early was the right call. Alright, here we go. Alright, let's see here. We got the early trade for oil. And Nordic is going to go the enlist route, which is very strong but somewhat vulnerable. Day here on Polania is maybe doing the double upgrade on deploy route, where you trade for oil 2 times on your way to the encounter, and then if you don't get a mech, you can trade twice for a mech. So this is probably a produce out of Nordic potentially. Yeah, so if Nordic is taking the enlist route, they may be vulnerable up until about turn 8. Once they hit turn 8, they get a little bit more safe. But they can still be attacked. Oh, we see a trade for metal instead of another trade for 2 oil out of Polania, switching it up a little bit. Yeah, there's the trade for 2 food we would expect. The next play is going to be a produce into an enlist for Nordic. If we see the power enlist, Nordic has their eyes set on the power star. If we see the coin enlist or the combat card enlist, they're probably not going to go for this. Okay, this was beautiful. I think you take the 2 oil and 1 popularity here. If you're Polania, that puts you at 5 popularity. That makes a tier 2 game very possible, and that means you can pull an upgrade on either your deploy if you want to, or even your enlist. And you get 2 options, so you could take the $2 upgrade as well. Or if you take both sets of oil, you've already got, what, 3, 1, 2, 3. You're just 2 upgrades away from, thanks for the follow, Fabio. You're just 2 upgrades away from the upgrade star, so 4 oil essentially. So I could see, I think you definitely want this one, but I could see taking this or this. This is another quick upgrade. Not setting their sights on the upgrade star, it looks like. Just focused on accelerating their game. They may regret this if they continue to get encounters with oil, but we'll see. Nordic did upgrade their move. Probably going to see that produced to the enlist now. This is such a strong economy strategy that Nordic is employing right now. If Polania cannot disrupt it, it's going to be very hard for them to win this game, in my opinion. Nordic gambling, though, that first encounter for Polania didn't give them a mech or two. Polania took that second upgrade on Bolster Enlist, which meant they could trade for 2 food, pull out a mech, and turn around and enlist the next turn. And then trade for another mech. Yeah, this is exactly what we expected to see here. Polania is not going to get here in time to bump this worker, because they cannot take another mech right now. So Nordic feeling pretty good about where they are. They're at 4 power, got 3 combat cards. If at least one of them is good and they can hold this spot, they're in good shape. Polania has to think about bumping these workers over here, because otherwise they get in a race to try to get into tier 2 and just outscore Nordic Patriotic, which is going to be hard to do. Virtual Instructor says Polania can't attack Nordic on turn 8. The Nordic is pretty safe. I agree with you. The 2 remaining vulnerable points is if Polania can get here and win a combat and send these 2 workers off this mountain, as well as the character, that slows Nordic down. Also, if they get to the factory and then bump these 2 workers up here before Nordic can get the remaining enlists, that slows Nordic down. And I think they have to consider doing one of those or both of those. So round 8, Nordic's going to move these 2 workers to the mountain, upgrade Bolster, and deploy. Polania then moves to the factory and then has an opportunity to attack Nordic 1v1 in either of these spots. This power, Nordic has to strongly consider, especially just to ward off any attack from Polania on the mountain, which would just wreck their game. Yeah, and they take the power. That's not what Polania wanted to see out of Nordic. So you're tempted if you're Polania to do a produce here to get to 4 workers, but I think you have to go to the factory, because disruption is going to be the name of the game for you right now. If you're sitting on a 5, you can send Nordic back. Yeah, and they do. They go for the factory. And they block Nordic from the factory with 2 mechs. Solid play right there, solid play. If they can keep Nordic off the factory the whole game, that will mean Nordic can only move every other turn, which would be absolutely huge for Polania. Again, with that produce factory card, the factory just must be trash. Because I wouldn't have expected to see that. So Nordic with enlist number 3, they only need 1 more produce to get their worker star, their enlist star. They have the 2 metal right now to take the mech. Does Polania attack Nordic here? I think they should. If they have 7 power and a 5, I think they should consider attacking Nordic and throwing 12, because it's going to be a long time before Nordic can get back. You got to do something, or Nordic's economy is just going to run over you the way this game is going. I don't think you can just outscore them without a popularity factory card and you didn't get one. I mean, maybe you play for tier 2 here. Maybe you grab up encounters and you find a way to do it. The nice thing about that produce factory card is you can start to work your way toward 8 workers while you're grabbing encounters, and that is very helpful. Days in sudden death here, though. Got to win this game to stay alive. Nunn pulls this out with Nordic Patriotic, and he's the champion of the 1v1 tournament. And we say congratulations, and we call it a day. going to go with the produce. Factory card, no surprise there. Down to 2 combat cards. Does he take the metal? Benefit to taking the metal is you can turn around and trade for food again and make mech number 3. Or trade for 2 popularity and make mech number 3. Of course, if he does attack here, he loses 2 popularity down to 3, so there's less benefit to taking the metal. But you've got to go all out if you attack Nordic, because Nordic has every incentive to win that fight. And maybe Polania doesn't have good combat cards because he passes. I think you take the food here, and I think you consider this very strongly because you're going to need power in this game. Popularity is good. You may need tier 2 at this point if you're not playing to disrupt Nordic. But Polania has not taken the popularity bonus, so they're playing for tier 2 at this point and hoping to just beat the Nordic economy. Alright, that first mech's coming out for Nordic now. Nordic looking at the Power Star. Interesting place to put it. Really could have gone with either one of these spots. Nordic now with speed. Polania choosing to go to 10 power. Polania has 2 more enlists to get, which means they'll get 6 power off the enlists. And they don't lose power while they're producing. So depending on how this works out, it's possible that Polania is going to get the Power Star, as well as Nordic. Nordic has all the enlists now. They have their Worker Star. And they're up by, what's that, 18? So 10 after the bids. Polania is making their move. This had to happen. You might even say it had to happen before the speed mech got out, because now Nordic can counterattack in 1 move. And in fact, they can counterattack next turn. But hopefully you've got good enough cards as Polania. You can throw a couple cards, save yourself some power, and win on the counterattack. Yeah, see? Nordic goes all out there. You had to know they were going to do that. You just had to. Because they're going to turn right around and bolster for 3 power. So they're going to put themselves at 6. And what'd you just do as... I mean, you can attack them again with the factory card. But now the incentive... You have diminished incentive to do that. Polania go to... No, Polania has spent popularity, so just now. So they should go to 7 pop if they take the pop bonus, and they do. So we've got Polania moving into tier 2, but with not enough spread for it to make much of a difference, down by 20. Here comes the second mech for Nordic. Nordic choosing to put it on the village instead of here. I mean, this spot has just become a lot less important. Getting to the factory would be key. Nordic has an objective completed now, has 1 combat. You just need to see a combat and a couple mechs out of Nordic. And the game's over. Yeah. Polania choosing to block the factory again to try to keep Nordic off of it. Nordic was seaworthy in speed. Not able to guarantee a victory here if Polania has a 5. They could if they'd place the mech here. I would have been tempted to place the mech here personally. But I see what they're doing here. They're loading this up here so they can make 1 more produce and get enough metal for those last 2 mechs. I'm guessing this is probably a bluff. Yeah. Drain some power off of Polania. Means there's a good chance a factory card is not happening. There's also a good chance it doesn't need to. Checking in on the score. Yeah, Nordic is running away with this. Virtual Destructor says it is the Foundation's objective. Wow. Polani had foundations last game and Nordic had it this game, so it evens out, I guess. Just metal everywhere. Nordic has the produce upgrade, so they can put metal here. And they elect to do so. Even though Polani might just turn around and steal it. Alright, both of them get a card because Nordic does elect to spend the food on the enlist. Converting some resources into coins. Can't steal coins in this game. Solid choice there. Nordic only up by 12 right now, which is 4 after the bid, so Polania closing that gap. Oh yeah, None was, Noodles None was, Polania last turn, so he's had Foundations of the Empire both games, hasn't he? He said it evens out, but really it doesn't. Okay, an objective out of Polania, I think that had to be Human Shield. Polania now up by 3 after the bid. The Nordic now with the power advantage can, and not needing popularity, can claim the factory next turn. So all they need is a combat. They have the upgraded move, so Polani is in a little bit of trouble because if they don't occupy the factory this turn, Nordic probably sends at least a mech home and sets up with 2 units on the factory, which means Polania can't take it. Solid play. It does not block. I mean, do you put a mech here now? I thought they were going to leave the mech right there to keep Nordic off the factory. Because Nordic now can just hit that with 1, go to the factory with 2, but then they cannot pick up the combat off the double mech, and maybe that's what Polani is thinking, but they can hit the character down here. So 1 move, 2 moves, 3 moves. You drop a worker here. Polani is using their double move. So then maybe, as long as you can keep the metal safe, if Polani doesn't take the metal, they can't take both with the factory card. The game's probably over. What's the score though? Yeah, the game certainly is narrowing, Phil. That's for sure. Attack the character? Yeah, attack the character is what I was saying. Polani has a move left, considering how to use it. I mean, you can move the character to here and just triple up on the spot. Nordic Fighting has given up the power star. They have to pick up a combat. They can't get another mech this turn, so it's a move. Factory cards out of the equation for Nordic. Hard to believe Polania has 4 stars, honestly. It just doesn't feel like they've done that much in the game, but they do. They do have 4 stars. So a combat and 2 more mechs out of Polania could win it. Alright, gonna block the lake. Can you win 2 combats if you're Nordic? Maybe you can, because you can artillery Polania twice, right? You took artillery. Alright, if None does this right, I think he wins next turn. Because all he's got to do is he's got to take combat and get the factory off of Polania with enough power left to hold the factory against a single Polania mech. And I think it's enough. So 1 mech, 2 mechs, and then probably drop a worker here, 3 mechs. That would take away 4 territories away from Polania, which is 12 points. Give Nordic 4 territories with just 6 points. That's a 20-point swing. plus 22, 24. Take away 1 from Polania, that's 27. And you're down by plus the bid of 14. 27 puts you up by 13. And then if Polania can't retake the factory 1v1, it's good game. So let's think about this. None can use a power to artillery Polania down for 1v1 combat. See, moving that character there doesn't do much because Nordic can still just attack right here. So I think we're going to see a mech to here, a mech to here, a mech to here. Oh yeah, tunnel. That's even better. That's an extra territory. It's what we thought we were going to see. And yeah, it's more than enough. So, you can only play 7 if you're Polania. I think this is game because if Polania counterattacks with the factory card, they're going to get artilleried again, and their max is going to be 5. The Nordic only has to spend. Yeah, Polania has to decides to go all out on that one. It means Polania can only counterattack with 5. Nordic can hold the factory. 62 to 35. Don't even have to do math there. This game's over. I mean, Polania could use their factory card and pick up 3 territories, which would be 9 points and 44, but it's just not enough. They can't take this metal. They can't take this metal. They can't take the factory. Nordic wins this the next turn. Polania, you're going to get a little spread though. Knowing the game's over, just trying to make the score as close as possible. Nordic up by 18. Gonna end it this turn. Virtual Destructor says good game, Noodles. That's right. Your new 1v1 tournament champion is on Discord is Noodles and the game is None. Congratulations to him. Well fought tournament. Dominant performance. Deserves it. Every bit of it. Congratulations, None. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you tuning in, and we'll do this again soon.